The Senate will come to order. The senators will take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. Good morning, guests. The senators and all those, if you are able, please stand. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend Benson Shelton of St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Hanover. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by our Senate page, Amir Mays of Portsmouth.
If it be your tradition, let us bow our heads in prayer. Almighty God, who has given us this good land for our heritage, we humbly beseech thee that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of thy favor and glad to do thy will. Bless our commonwealth with honorable industry, sound learning, and pure manners. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties and fashion into one united people, the multitudes brought hither out of many kindreds and tongues. And do with the spirit of wisdom those to whom in thy name we entrust the authority of government, especially all gathered here this day, that there may be justice and peace, and that through obedience to thy law we may show forth thy praise among the nations of the earth. In the time of prosperity, fill our hearts with thankfulness, and in the day of trouble, suffer not our trust in thee to fail. All this we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Monday, January 22nd, 2024.
The senator from Northern Fairfax County, Senator Boysko, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report now any communications from the House of Delegates. Senator Sorovell, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Good afternoon, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
I would move that we waive reading of the communication from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All those in favor of waiving the reading will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will now report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
We have arrived at the time in our morning hour when we will hear who all of our wonderful guests are. Our normal procedure is our senator will rise and will let us know who you are. And please rise at that time, and we will hold our applause until after I've welcomed you officially. So with that, I do now call on Senator McDougall, the senator from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, in the gallery today, we have the Reverend Benson Shelton from St. Paul's Episcopal Church, which is located at the Hanover Courthouse. And if you could offer him the warm welcome of the Senate for bringing prayer and for the service he does to his parishioners there.
Reverend Shelton, good afternoon. So many people who come and pray for us, we understand, make so many sacrifices. And thank you for what you do in your community to help those who sometimes are not able to help themselves. Thank you for giving of yourself. Senators, let us give Reverend Shelton the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the audience today is a good government coalition. And part of this coalition, we have Big Money Out, Virginia, the League of Women Voters, Common Cause represents us, Upvote VA, and Veterans for All Voters, among other groups. This coalition is very dedicated and very interested in issues that would increase transparency and accountability. I know this group has backed campaign finance reform, and they have been strong advocates for increasing access to voting. I encourage my colleagues to welcome members of this coalition when they stop by your office to talk to you about issues they are so passionate and so knowledgeable about. I ask that the Senate join the Lieutenant Governor and all of us in welcoming this coalition. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank you for coming. Good afternoon. Two phrases the senator said: increased transparency and greater accountability. And in so many countries, we're not able to say that in public. Thank you for what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Durant, the senator from Stafford.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you. Madam President, I would like to introduce, we have some members from the Stafford County Commissioner of the Revenue here. Commissioner of Revenue Scott Mayaski, Mike Aragon, and Sheila Nottingham. And I would ask that we give them a warm Senate welcome.
All right. Well, are you in the gallery? Yes, please stand. Yes. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the sacrifices that you indeed make as part of the local government in Stafford. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Williams-Graves, the senator from Norfolk.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator may say on.
Thank you. Esteemed members of the Virginia Senate Legislative Body, in attendance today are dedicated domestic workers representing Care in Action. Care in Action serves as the policy and advocacy stronghold for women in caregiving roles, tirelessly advocating for the well-being of over 2 million domestic workers and care professionals nationwide. Presently, an estimated 60,000 individuals engage in domestic work within the state of Virginia. This sector, a vital component of our rapidly expanding economy, is unfortunately one of the most susceptible and undervalued, notably dominated by women, particularly women of color and immigrants. Domestic workers face a stark reality. They are 3 times more likely to reside in poverty compared to their counterparts, and a significant portion struggle to make ends meet, either falling below the poverty line or hovering just above it without adequate income. It is imperative to acknowledge the significant strides made in 2020 when Virginia became the first Southern state to enact the Virginia Domestic Bill of Rights. This monumental achievement, spearheaded by former Senator Jennifer McClellan, bestowed fundamental worker rights upon domestic workers, encompassing a minimum wage, protection against harassment and discrimination, and adherence to workplace safety standards. But let's be clear, this action is the floor and not the ceiling, because so much more is needed. Let us please extend a warm welcome to the dedicated domestic workers who selflessly care for our property and our loved ones. Their presence today serves as a reminder of the progress achieved and the ongoing commitment required to ensure the rights and dignity of this invaluable workforce.
I thank the senator, and the senator has said it so very well, that we honor our domestic workers and we thank them so much for all that they do in our communities. God bless them all. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator DeStaff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam Chair, Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam Chair, I'd like to bring to the attention of the body the presence of our guests today from Airbnb. Airbnb hosts from across the Commonwealth in town for their lobby day today. These folks have spent the morning visiting the Capitol, talking to members of the House and Senate, and sharing the part they are playing in the growth of citizen-led tourism in Virginia. Last year, Virginia's Airbnb hosts opened their homes to more than 1 million guests, and more than a third of their guests surveyed indicated that without Airbnb, they would not have visited and stayed in the destination they were visiting. In Virginia, a significant number of the hosts are small business owners, artists, educators, and individuals affected by the pandemic. And 67% of the hosts in Virginia self-reported as women. Airbnb has been a financial lifeline for many, with 69% of the Virginia hosts saying they use the extra income from hosting to cover the higher cost of living, and over 43% of the hosts in the Commonwealth saying that the income from Airbnb helped them stay in their homes. Tourism taxes are then the key revenue generating mechanism for jurisdictions across Virginia. 110,500 went to Shenandoah County, 1.4 million to the city of Virginia Beach, 161,100 to the city of Portsmouth, 458,000 to the city of Charlottesville, 280,000 to Albemarle County. Madam President, please welcome our Airbnb host to the Senate of Virginia. Thank you.
Good afternoon. You know, technology has truly created industries that we could never have thought of just a few years ago, and yours is one of them. And when I hear that over 1 million guests stayed in the Airbnb homes, but a third would not have come had there not been an Airbnb, that's real numbers. That impacts, of course, everything from our local communities, and the senator has already stated true numbers that impact the services that these communities can provide from the tourists who pay those taxes because you're there. So we're so glad for all that you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today in the gallery, we are joined by members of the Virginia Coalition of Latino Organizations, also known as VACOLA. Members of VACOLA have traveled to join us today from all across the state, including from Northern Virginia, from Charlottesville, and from right here in Richmond as well. The mission of this organization is to foster a collaborative alliance among organizations in Virginia that are dedicated to serving and advocating for the interest of Virginia's growing Latino community. As of 2022, 1 in 10 people who call Virginia home identifies as Latino. This organization strives to empower its community by actively working towards achieving equitable treatment, fostering equal opportunities, and ensuring fair representation for Latinos and Hispanics all across the Commonwealth. Through unity and proactive engagement, VACOLA seeks to create a vibrant and inclusive community that uplifts and enhances the well-being of everyone in Virginia. And Madam President, I ask that we extend this group a warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you for coming to see your Senate in action and for having your legislators hear from you, hear the ideas and, well, all that you espouse. We're so grateful and that you're fostering collaboration. Imagine that. Thank you for doing all that you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Suderline, the senator from Roanoke.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction request.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery, we have several of our friends from the Arc of Virginia. I think you can see several of them wearing the notable orange scarves. The Arc advocates, and several of the members self-advocate for our friends with Virginians with intellectual disabilities and other issues to make sure that we have a more inclusive Commonwealth that works for everyone and so that they can enjoy lives like all other Virginians. We've made great strides increasing access the last few years, but we have a lot more left to do. I know Senator Aird is also working on that, and so many other friends in this chamber. I just want to thank you all for that, and I would request that the presiding officer would give them the welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon to you, and we've already heard one of our young Virginians already advocating, and it's so good to hear that baby's voice. Thank you for what you do for helping those not able. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Head, the senator from Botetourt.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery today, we are joined by a delegation from Virginia Western Community College. If they would stand. We have students Brianna Wood, who is majoring in mechatronics and design engineering technology, and Whitney Young, who's majoring in physical therapist as a physical therapist assistant in the new program that we have at Virginia Western. Also joining them are Yvonne Campbell, the Dean of Business Technology and Trades, and Natasha Lee, Student Affairs Representative. I'd ask that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon to you again. And we're so grateful for the role that our community colleges play, and indeed the reason why we have community colleges in Virginia should be a history lesson to so many of us. Thank you for what you do. I'm a graduate of TCC. Thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair calls on Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I spoke with the few of my colleagues, and it seems that we all have special commissioners of revenue and treasurers that we'd like to introduce because we want to call them by name.
All right, the
So,
senator
Madam
may.
President, I rise for the purposes of 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Yes, our commissioners and treasurers are visiting legislative today for their lobby day at the Virginia General Assembly. Today in the gallery, we have the Portsmouth Commissioner of the Revenue, Frankie D. Edmondson, his Chief Deputy, Wanda Newsmith, who is the sister to our Senator, Christy New Craig, and Merrill Craig, Compliance Deputy. Let's give them first the very warm welcome of the Senate.
So, now we know where the money is. We thank you for being one of our public servants indeed. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Again, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. And today in the gallery, we have Merrill Craig, husband of Senator Christy New Craig. Merrill is the compliance deputy for Commissioner Edmondson. Also, Merrill is a retired 31-year law enforcement officer. He served 26 of those years as a Capitol Police officer. And most will remember Officer Merrill Craig as an officer at Post Number 1. He retired as an assistant special agent in charge of law enforcement section of DMV, 5th Division. Please give Merrill the very warm welcome of the Senate, Madam President.
Thank you, Officer Craig. I think once an officer, always an officer. Thank you for all those many years of serving because you didn't have to. Thank you very much. Senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator French, the senator from Shenandoah County.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise to draw attention to our guest in the gallery today. Today, visiting the gallery is President of the Commissioner of Revenues Association of Virginia and a constituent of mine, Ann Burkholder. Ann currently serves as a Commissioner of Revenue for the City of Winchester. The Commissioners of Revenue Association of Virginia was formed in 1919 of the desire of commissioners to associate themselves to promote a common understanding of the problems faced with the assessment of taxes and the administration of revenue laws. The association encouraged cooperation in various departments in the state government that have direct relationship to the Commissioner's office. Madam President, please extend a warm welcome to our guests.
Well, good morning, Commissioner Burkholder. So good to see you. And you are my Commissioner of the Revenue as well. And we understand that you do have to assess taxes, and normally we'd say boo-hiss, but it is necessary, of course. Thank you so much for being our Commissioner. Senators, let us give her the warm welcome of our Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Subramaniam, the senior senator from Loudoun.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we are excited to welcome the school board of the best school system in the county, Loudoun County Schools. If you may rise, please. We are excited to welcome a completely new school board, 9 new members actually, including Superintendent Dr. Aaron Spence, who recently joined, as well as board members Ann Donahue, who's at large, April Chandler from Algonquin District, Dina Griffiths from Ashburn District, Linda Deans from Broad Run District, Carrie LaBelle from Catoctin District, Melinda Mansfield from Dulles District, Lauren Chernoff from Leesburg District, Samara Rashid, Little River District, and Arvin Estrefri from Sterling District. And at some point, I will not have to read my notes again. I'll know you guys all by heart, by district. But Loudoun County Schools represents, I think, almost 100 different schools at this point, and 82,000 students across Northern Virginia. And so thank you all for stepping up to serve, and I hope we can wish them a warm Senate welcome. Thank you.
Our fellow elected officials, thank you for coming. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
On behalf of the senator from Charlottesville and myself, I'd like to introduce a group in the gallery, if they could stand. The name of the group is Sin Barraces, which is Spanish for without barriers. And with offices in Charlottesville and Waynesboro, Sin Barraces' mission is to empower immigrants and their families in Central Virginia, focusing on the Hispanic population by educating, advocating, and supporting their needs. So with that, Madam President, I ask that you extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Sin Barraces.
If you are present, please stand. Well, in their absence, this will be for the record. We thank them for advocating on behalf of their various communities. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Jordan, the senator from Isle of Wight.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we have the Virginia Emergency Management Association in attendance here for their annual lobby day. And look, they already know direction. They've already stood. Virginia's emergency managers play a crucial role in disaster preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. Furthermore, they have been, especially the past couple years, been our front line of defense through public health emergencies alike as well. Oftentimes, they're the unsung heroes that are behind the scenes making sure that our communities are safe in other ways long past a disaster that we see with our own two eyes. It's our emergency managers who always have it all covered in all bases. So with that, my home emergency manager, Vice President of the Association, Will Drury, and several of his colleagues from across the state are here, and I hope it would be the pleasure of the Senate to give them a warm welcome.
Thank you for coming. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you for what you do in our various communities. We're so glad that you're there when we need you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Pillion, the senator from Washington.
Madam President, I ask the Journal to reflect that my seatmate, the senator from Charlottesville, is away on pressing personal business, and hopefully I'm not getting the same thing he had. Anyway, business. Thank you.
The Journal will so reflect. We thank the senator. Chair recognizes Senator Hackworth, the senator from Tazewell.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purpose of introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery today, we have our own Commissioner of Revenue from Tazewell County, and also a former legislative aide for a senator that was here in the body, and it's Mr. David Larimer. So I would ask that the Senate give him a warm welcome today. Thank you.
Mr. Larimer, thank you. Thank you for being, well, I guess I was going to say one of the money getters, but thank you for helping us. Senators, as a public servant, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Craig, the senator from Chesapeake.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a purpose of introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. I would like to draw your attention today to the gallery. Joining us from the great city of Chesapeake are my treasurer, Ben White, and Commissioner of Revenue, Victoria Prophet. Ben has served the city in several capacities, from deputy sheriff to deputy treasurer to the deputy director of economic development, and now our very own city treasurer. Formerly school board chair, Victoria Prophet has served in her current role for several years and continues to revolutionize the Commissioner of Revenue's office. We are thrilled to have Ben and Victoria leading the way in our city of Chesapeake. Madam President, I ask that you give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you also for coming, and you know, without you, our government could not function. We need all aspects of government to operate, and you are there to help us do so. Senators, let us give them both the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair again recognizes Senator Durant, the senator from Stafford.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to draw attention to the gallery to introduce Superintendent of the City of Fredericksburg, a beautiful historic city. I ask that they rise. And also with us are two of our school board members, our Vice Chair, Matt Rowe, and also newly elected, I believe, school board member Molly McFadden. I ask that we extend them a warm Senate welcome.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you for helping our children learn to read and write and do arithmetic, as we say. They are indeed our future. Thank you very much. Let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Is there any other business for the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Chair calls on Senator Somerville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all Senate bills on the third reading uncontested calendar on pages 1 through 5, Senate bills 46 through 613, be placed in their final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has called the number of the bill.
The question is, shall Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 5, Senate Bill 613, Senate Bills 46 through Senate Bills 613 be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bills. All in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 46.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the senator from Chesterfield rise?
Can SB 46 come out of the block, please?
Without objection, SB 46 is out of the block.
Senate Bill 60. Senate Bill 74, Senate Bill 133, Senate Bill 154, Senate Bill 157.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Western Prince William County, Senator Rome.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, can SB 157 please come out of the block?
Without objection, SB 157 is out of the block.
Senate Bill 159, Senate Bill 184, Senate Bill 314, Senate Bill 130.
Chair recognizes the senator from Prince William County.
Thank you, Madam President. Can Senate Bill 314 come out of the block, please?
Without objection, Senate Bill 314 is out of the block.
Senate Bill 330, Senate Bill 341.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Somerville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you. Can Senate Bill 341 come out of the block for a quick technical amendment?
Without objection, Senate Bill 341 is out of the block.
Senate Bill 354, Senate Bill 358, Senate Bill 613.
Madam President.
There you are.
I'm over here.
Senator Stanley.
Can you please pull Senate Bill 74 out of the block?
Without objection, Senate Bill 74. What page is that, Senator?
2.
Madam President.
Again, Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
We have so many little birds around here. Can you please pull Senate Bill 133 out of the block, please? Almost got away with it.
Without objection, Senate Bill 133 is also out of the block. The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is, all bills except Senate Bill 46 on page 1, Senate Bills 157, 74, and 133 on page 2, Senate Bills 314 on page 3, and Senate Bill 341 on page 4. All in favor of passage of the remaining bills in the block will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Senate Bill 46 on page 1.
Chair recognizes Senator Van Valkenburg, the junior senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I would move passage of Senate Bill 46 and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, members of the body, this bill does one simple thing, which is to ban Virginia public colleges and universities from providing special admission treatment to student applicants related to alumni or donors. And with that, I would move passage of the bill.
Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I ask if the junior senator from Henrico County will rise for a question.
Will the senator yield for a question?
I yield, Madam
The
President.
senator yields. Senator Hashmi has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I asked the junior senator from Henrico what exactly the sweeping bill will do to our esteemed public institutions of higher education. Most specifically, I'd like to know from him exactly how many institutions, public institutions of higher education we have here in the Commonwealth.
Senator Van Valkenburg has the floor.
Madam President, I would tell the senator from Richmond that I was going to count the number of universities before I came here because I was expecting that answer, but because so many of you put in gambling bills, and I'm on the subcommittee for gambling, I had a line out my office about 50 people deep. And so just to get away from them, I had to go talk to somebody from the other chamber to get a moment of silence. And so I was not able to do my diligence on the number of universities, the number of words in the bill, or any of that matter, because I had to tend to your flock.
Madam President, I ask if the senator will yield for another question.
Will Senator Van Valkenburg yield for another question?
I yield, Madam
The
President.
senator yields. Senator Hashmi has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Having shown himself to be eminently unqualified to carry this legislation because he does not know how many institutions of public education are actually affected, I would ask the esteemed senator, the junior senator from Henrico County, if the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of the founder of the University of Virginia, otherwise known as Long Tom or Thomas Jefferson, should she apply for admission to the University of Virginia, will we actually deny her admission because of your bill?
Senator Van Valkenburg.
Madam President, first I would correct the record. I didn't say I didn't know how many colleges would be affected by this bill. I said I did not know off the top of my head the number of colleges and universities there were. This will impact mostly 3 universities, Madam President. Having said that, I love our founders. I teach government. I have a replica of 2 of the Virginia founders in my office if anybody wants to come by and check them out at any time. They're paper mache from the Valentine Museum. They're lovely. And I hope that great, whatever we're on, granddaughter or grandson will get into that university. But I would also say, as much as I love our founders, I love all of our citizens of Virginia equally. And so I would not want the relatives of the senator from Franklin to feel left out in the admissions process. And I think they should have as fair a shake as the ancestors of the gentleman from Albemarle County. And hopefully they would merit getting into that university.
Thank you, Madam President. The senator has answered my question as effectively as he is able to. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin.
Thank you, Madam President. Will the junior senator from Henrico yield for a question?
Will the senator from Henrico, the junior senator, yield?
I yield, Madam President.
The senator yields. Senator Stanley has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask the gentleman, looking at his bill, under subsection B, I would ask him to repeat the first word of subsection B 3 times with feeling.
Senator Van Valkenburg has the floor.
First word.
The first word of subsection B, Madam President.
Madam President, I would ask him to clarify what word he would like me to say.
Clarification, Senator Stanley.
Madam President, I would answer the gentleman by saying, under subsection B of the code that he hopes to amend of 23.1-407.2, under subsection B, right after the big letter B, then there's a period after the big letter B. If he could then say to us, repeat to us exactly the first word of subsection B 3 times and do so with feeling.
Senator Van Valkenburg.
Madam President, I would say to the senator from Franklin that those words are no, 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 but I would hope he would vote yes, yes, yes.
I thank the gentleman. I think his first response was the right response.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 46 pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The answer is not no, no, no.
Senate Bill 74 on page 2.
Chair calls on Senator Durant, the senator from Stafford.
Thank you, Madam President. I Rice has moved to report the bill. I'd like to speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 74, thank you. It will allow for specialty docket administrators who are to participate in the prescription drug monitoring program. And this will allow for a streamlining of the process to allow more of the folks in the specialty docket to participate in this program. I ask for the passage of the bill.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin County.
Why is it always me?
I don't know. It doesn't have to be.
Why?
Why?
Will the senator from somewhere north of where I live rise for a question?
Will the northern senator from Stafford rise and yield for a question?
I will.
The senator yields. Senator Stanley has the floor.
Madam President, I would ask the gentlelady if she were to take the last letter off of her name and say it then twice, what would that be?
Senator Durant.
Madam President, I would say it'd be kind of a cool band from back in the day. Duran Duran.
Thank you, Madam President. That's the best I could come up with.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 74 pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The Senate will come to order. The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 133.
Chair recognizes Senator Head, the senator from Botetourt.
Thank you, Madam President. I move passage of Senate Bill 133 and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 133 simply eliminates the need for a separate practice agreement for physician's assistants that are practicing as part of a patient care team in facilities, including hospitals, state facilities, or federally qualified health centers, if the facility's delineation of privileges includes certain components pertaining to the PA's training and experience, and that mirrors what would be found in a practice agreement. So I would hope that we would all support the passage of the bill.
Chair recognizes Senator Sudeline, the senator from Roanoke.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to ask the senator if he'll yield for a question.
Will Senator Head yield for a question?
Madam President, I'll be happy to yield.
The senator yields. Senator Sudeline has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask the senator from Botetourt how far his home county's western border extended before it was tied in by this body.
Senator Head has the floor.
Madam President, I would respond to the gentleman by saying I can't say the exact number of miles, but if my granted limited knowledge of Virginia history, only having served here for 12 years, if I remember correctly, I believe that originally we extended Botetourt County all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
Madam President, will you yield for another question?
Will the senator from Botetourt yield for another question?
Madam President, I am always happy to yield to my colleague from Roanoke.
The senator yields. Senator Sudeline has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So you're pretty close. It's huge. And it's the mother of so many counties. What's the greatest county that it birthed?
Senator Head has the floor.
Madam President, I would tell you that Roanoke County is a part of, well, it was initially a part of that. And so,
that's right. Thank you.
That would be it's a wonderful county.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 133 pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The senator's bill passes.
Senate Bill 157.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that we pass the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a bipartisan bill. It went out unanimously through the committee. It allows online-only newspaper publications to publish legal notices, broadening the reach and accessibility of important legal information. This aligns with modern media consumption habits and ensures that larger portions of the public can access this information conveniently. They have to meet certain standards and reliability and quality of the publications. This is a joint effort between the Press Association and the other stakeholders. We've been working on this with my good friend from Rockingham County, and I move passage of the bill. And I'm not a new member. I just wanted to clarify that.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 3.
Ayes 36, noes 3. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 314.
Chair recognizes Senator Rome, the senator from Western Prince William County.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move passage of the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, this establishes the Farm to School Task Force program here. And to quote one of our other esteemed freshmen, this bill's really hard to hate. And what this program would do is it would basically help increase student access throughout the Commonwealth to high-quality farm-to-school programs, which include where public schools purchase and feature prominently in school meals, locally produced food, or that involve experiential student learning opportunities relating to local food and agriculture, including school and community garden programs and local farm visits. So thank you very much, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the senior senator from Prince William County.
Thank you, Madam President. Would the senator from Western Prince William yield for a question?
Will the senator from Prince William yield?
Madam President, I would tell the senior senator from Prince William to bring it. Yes.
The senator yields. Senator McPike.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the invitation. So line 26, if the senator could help me out. After collect such, the word that you find on its pages, could you repeat it for the body 3 times, please?
Senator Rome has the floor.
Madam President, the word in the center of that area was data, data, and data.
Ah, data. So would the senator yield?
Will the senator yield again for a question?
I yield to the senior senator, Madam Chair.
Senator Rome yields. Senator McPike has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So is it in fact the intention of this bill to increase the use of data through its task force and the need to build more data centers across the Commonwealth? Is that the intent?
Senator Rome.
Here, Madam President.
Senator Rome.
Madam President, I would tell the esteemed senior, very, very senior senator of Prince William that such data collection methodology is not stipulated in the bill, which means that if you want to go old school pen and pad, like I was as the reporter who interviewed the senior senator when he was running his Losing House of Delegates campaign, then he would know that that pen and pad still very much works, and it works great.
Wow.
Madam President.
Senator McPike.
I just got smoked. But will the senator yield for one final?
Will Senator Rome yield for a final question?
Madam President, I would be delighted to yield one final time to this.
Senator Rome yields. Senator McPike has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. And, I had some calls early this morning really concerned from the agriculture and industry of the concern that this could be, sort of the camel nose under the tent to subject all farmers to FOIA, Madam President. Is this so? Is this what is going on here, Madam President?
Senator Rome has the floor.
Madam President, I would tell the very senior senator from Prince William that only some farmers would be subject in this body, such as my co-patron of this bill, Senator Craig, who is a tree farmer, and such as one of our other freshman members, Senator French, who is a, I believe, dairy farmer, or a cattle farm. And if you are a public body member and you are an official government person, then yes, you are subject to the Freedom of Information Act. However, the local farmer who is not a public official is not. Madam President.
Madam President, I thank the senator from Western Prince William. I'm going to sit down now and relive my PTSD from 10 years ago. Thank you.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 314 pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, no 0.
Ayes 37, no 0. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 341.
Chair recognizes Senator Sorovel, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. We need to rewind this a bit to get it postured to make a quick correction. So having voted on the prevailing side by which we engrossed and advanced Senate Bill 341 to its third reading, I'd move that we reconsider that vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 341 was engrossed and advanced be reconsidered? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill is reconsidered. Senator Sorovel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move to waive reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator Sorovel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move the floor amendment and speak to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a technical error that the Housing Commission caught when they saw the bill going through. It says condominium instead of condominium unit owners association, which is a defined term under the code. We just need to do this. We're going to see it come back and deal with this in about a month. So we better do it now. So I'd ask that we adopt the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? Those in favor of the floor amendment will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendment is adopted. Senator Sorovel.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended? Sorry about that. Shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading. Senator Sorovel.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading be dispensed with? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are suspended and the third constitutional reading is dispensed with. Finally, Senator Sorovel.
Thank you, Madam President. Now that we're in the correct posture, I would move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill came out unanimous, so normally wouldn't take an explanation, but the quick version is that this bill basically says that a homeowners association or a condo association is not allowed to foreclose on somebody's house, that is, take their house, unless they have not paid more than $5,000 of monthly assessments. Right now, HOAs, condo associations can foreclose on somebody's home if they haven't paid $1 or less. And that's kind of crazy. We adopted a $25,000 foreclosure threshold about 3 years ago, but HOAs were exempt. This puts in a lesser amount for them. And it was a recommendation of the Housing Commission, and I would hope we could pass the bill.
Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. Would the gentleman yield for a question? Would the senator from Eastern Fairfax yield for a question?
Will Senator Somerville yield for a question?
Sure.
The senator yields. Senator Marsden has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I know that the gentleman has introduced thousands of bills here on the floor of the Senate, but I don't remember any of them ever passing. Is the gentleman eligible for harassment at this point in time?
Senator Somerville has the floor.
I think I should get an award this year because I only put in 22. So,
and we are grateful. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 341 pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The bill passes.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 28, School Boards, Powers and Duties, Policies Regarding Cell Phones and Other Handheld Devices.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that Senate Bill 28 pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the body. Senate Bill 28 is quite simple in what it sets forth, but something that probably we should have been doing a long time ago. It's also some things that some of our school divisions are doing, some in pilot programs, and other school divisions, even the ones that I talked to this morning, said, we love the bill, we didn't know we could do this. And the reason why they didn't think that they could do what this bill proposes to do is because of the old Dillon rule that says that localities don't do something unless we empower them to do so. It's not that we don't empower them to do what we're trying to do by this bill, but this bill makes it clear that we here in the Commonwealth of Virginia make it a policy that we encourage all of our school systems to develop their own policy when it comes to regulating or prohibiting use of cell phones and handheld devices, watches, those kind of things during school hours. And the reason is this. Right after the election, I went to a middle school, high school combo in Galax, Virginia. When I got there, every kid was looking at their phone, walking by you, almost as zombies. I saw one kid walking into gym class looking at his phone. At a time when athletic activity should be a part of the school curriculum, that young man was more worried about what was going on his phone. I talked to some teachers, and they said, in fact, it's hard to teach anymore because these kids are getting notifications. They're on group chats all the time, and they're getting notifications, and that's more important to them than what they're teaching in class. One teacher even said, I'm just teaching to the 5 kids that want to learn. The rest of them are on their phones, and it's frustrating. And then I heard from some parents who I knew very well who came to me. Well, it was grandparents, and their granddaughter had been dragged into a bathroom in Franklin County's high school where she was beaten pretty significantly. And they videotaped it, and they put it up on social media, and they bullied her. And I heard story after story about cyberbullying, which affected her to the point of being near suicidal. It affected her self-esteem. These are things that we never had to deal with because we didn't have cell phones in our schools. We didn't have these distractions. But our children now, with the advancement of technology, do have these distractions, and we need to take care of it. We need to empower our school systems with the ability to regulate conduct when it comes to these cell phones. You know, I did some research, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll just indulge me for 1 second, I want you to hear what one school study provided. Carroll County, which is in my district, did a student-based participatory study. And they worked with 124 students in the Carroll County High School to track notifications received during typical class periods. The group that was being tracked received 1,646 notifications during a single 90-minute class. That breaks down to 14 notifications per student, or 1 every 6.5 minutes. At the middle school, they did the same tests. In algebra classes, they observed and recorded 20 notifications per minute and 37 per minute in another class. what really bothers me the most, ladies and gentlemen of this body, is that when the Pew Research Center did a study, they found that 95% of teens with access to a smartphone and 45% of teens report constantly checking their phones and having, quote, feelings of addictions to their device. Data in that research demonstrated that negative self-image was directly related to smartphone usage, with excessive use associated with psychiatric, cognitive, emotional, medical, and brain changes. One study found that teens who spend 5 or more hours a day on their device are 71% more likely to have one risk factor for suicide. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that is permissive. It empowers our localities to make a policy. It encourages them to determine a policy, and that policy may be different from one county to the next, but our localities need to know, and our school boards need to know, that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. When we look at our test scores that are falling, when we look at our students who are being cyberbullied, who are having body shaming issues, anxieties, and it's based around a cell phone, there are ways that these schools can stop cell phone usage during the school hours. They have magnetic pouches that they can put their phones in, and they can't demagnetize them to get the cell phone out until the end of the school day using a common magnet demagnetizer. There are other ways to do this, that we can accomplish this in a very safe and effective way that'll get our teachers, Madam President, the tools in the toolbox to teach our children and will encourage our children to learn. I'll close with this, because cyberbullying and violence and videotaping violence and putting it on the internet is a horrible thing that we never had to deal with. But Richmond high schools here stopped the use of cell phones during class, and violence went down 78%, nearly 80%. They said even their activity of school security was usually 80 to 85% more concentrating on acts that were happening by use of the phone in their school than any time else, and that went all away. This is good common sense legislation. It leaves it to the localities to make the decisions. And we hope that they will create an environment that puts the children first in front of the teacher and not in front of their cell phone. And so for those reasons, Madam President, I renew my motion that Senate Bill 28 pass. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
Would the senator from Franklin yield for a question?
Will the senator from Franklin yield for a question?
Yes, Madam President.
The senator yields. Senator Eben has the floor.
I would ask the senator, did he say that school districts already can adopt policies dealing with cell phones currently, and that some districts are doing so?
Senator Stanley has the floor.
Madam President, I would answer the gentleman by saying, no, there's no policy for or against. Some of the school divisions are doing pilot programs. Some have instituted policies. Many have not. From the ones that I can tell, and I've looked, there's less than 10 that have enacted policies permanently. A lot of what the school divisions have, they want to do this, but they haven't yet. This sends a clear message as a matter of policy that this is something that our school divisions should take up and make a decision about for the good of our children and the future of their education.
I thank the senator.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the senior senator from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Will the senator from Franklin yield for a question?
Will the senator from Franklin again yield for a question?
Madam President, I will remind him that this is not my first bill.
The senator yields. Senator McPike.
Disregard. No, seriously. So, Madam President, we have some expert resources on this subject, and my question to the senator from Franklin is: has he consulted with the Senate page class of 2024?
Senator Stanley has the floor.
Madam President, that is an incredibly interesting question, and I haven't, but I can take a flash poll to see if the pages, if they raise their hand, think this is a good policy. Clearly. See, now, Madam President, I would tell the gentleman that was the double reverse whammy. If they raised their hand and said it was a good policy, then it wasn't a good policy. They did not raise their hands, which means they don't want to lose their cell phones, which means it's a great policy.
Madam President, I thank the gentleman for the question, and hope he realizes he may have jeopardized his Senate page status of fame every year. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Will the senator from Franklin yield for one last question?
Will the senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley, rise and yield?
Madam President, always for my friend.
The senator yields. Senator Favola has the floor.
This is my question. Have you discussed a model policy with the Department of Education? Because asking the school, you're not asking, you're allowing the school boards to go ahead and implement a policy, but it's a pretty complicated area, actually. So my question to the senator is whether the Department of Education actually has some kind of information published on its website or has sent out information on this topic of adopting a policy on cell phones.
Senator Stanley has the floor.
Madam President, I thank the gentlelady for the question. The answer is simply this. I am not aware of any Department of Education policy, uniform policy. And I think every school board, and that's why I put it in a permissive stance, should decide for themselves what is best. Because I think, of course, maybe the use of a cell phone is okay for special needs kids, or especially if it's a part of their education. But quite frankly, what we really want to do is just say, not during school hours. You know, I've seen articles where, Madam President, where parents are overjoyed and some parents are enraged. I don't think, Madam President, that even a model policy, a one-size-fits-all type resolution should be accorded here. Otherwise, I probably would have made it. I've had some school boards who came in even today and said, why don't you just make it mandatory? No cell phones during school hours. And I don't think that imposing the will upon our school boards in that way, in that measure, is the way to go about this. What this gives us is an encouragement to all of our school boards to develop a policy that's right for them and right for making sure we're maximizing the educational opportunities of our children and not allowing these things to distract them from the education that determines their future. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 3.
Ayes 36, noes 3. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 85, Virginia Freedom of Information Act, definition of caregiver, remote participation in meetings.
Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill allows individuals with disabilities, as defined in Code 51.5-40.1. It allows those individuals to participate remotely in meetings, so they're participating virtually. They may be counted towards the quorum, and they may vote on matters that come before the committee. The bill also permits caretakers who are caring for individuals with disabilities, as defined in the bill. If they're a member of a committee and they're caring for an individual at the time the committee's meeting, they too may participate virtually, count towards the quorum, and also vote. This is the kind of bill where we, as leaders of Virginia, can say we truly have an open government, a government that's accessible to everybody, a government that welcomes all voices at the table, and a government that's willing to make it possible for those who may not be able to physically join us to participate in our debate and in our policies. This is our opportunity to make that statement. I certainly hope it is the will of the Senate to pass this bill.
The question is, for what purpose does the senator from King George rise?
Would the senator from Arlington yield for a question?
Will the senator from Arlington rise and yield?
Yes.
The senator yields. Senator Stewart has the floor.
Ask the senator from Arlington. I'm sorry I wasn't on that committee, and I looked at this, and actually I think this came through the FOIA Council, and there was, I think it passed, but it was a mixed.
The FOIA, I have the FOIA count, Madam President.
Is the senator finished with his question?
I'm curious, is there any limitation on how many people could participate remotely and still be counted as a quorum?
Senator Favola has the floor.
There is no limitation. that's the answer. There's not a limitation in the bill. I would find it surprising that there would be multiple people who would qualify under the criteria established in the bill to actually participate in any one committee at any one time. But I thank the gentleman for asking me a question, because I neglected to say that this bill was endorsed by the FOIA Council. I don't know what the vote was, but it was endorsed unanimously by the Disability Advisory Commission. So this has had a full vetting even before it came to the Senate and went through our committee process.
Speaking to the bill, I thank the senator. Speaking to the bill, Madam President.
The senator may continue.
And Madam President, I have no disillusions about the vote on this. I know it's going to pass, but I feel compelled to just point out that this is just not a great direction. And I do want to make an accommodation for people with disabilities to participate in boards and commissions and others, and we try to make ADA accommodations so people can come in and do that both physically and other ways to allow people to participate. But what we're setting up here now is a situation where everybody on the board, if they qualify, and I'm not sure exactly what that qualification is, but if they qualify, your entire board, commission, whatever it is, could be participating remotely. And that concerns me. I think it would be much more reasonable if it was one person or two people or something like that that could. But when you have entire boards now participating remotely and that establishes a quorum, I think it just makes people distrust our government, and I want them to trust our government so they can see what's going on.
Chair recognizes the senator from Western Prince William, Senator Rome.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So, Madam President, one of the issues that comes up, especially on a lot of advisory boards, commissions, and other things, when you get to the hyper-local level here, is that we're having trouble getting enough people to get to a quorum who are actually, number one, filling vacancies in the first place, and number two, establishing themselves there. And so the idea that we're going to have such a giant influx of caregivers coming in that's going to fill all of these to the point that no one is showing up in the physical world, it's almost to the point where you would say what a great problem to have, and that means that we have filled all of our vacancies on every commission and that we have gone so far out of our way to accommodate people with disabilities, where the reality is in Virginia right now, the pendulum is very much slanted in the other side. And as someone who is really, really diehard when it comes to the Freedom of Information Act, and every single year for the last 7 years, I've put in legislation to try to strengthen the Freedom of Information Act to make public records more accessible to the public. This is one of those situations here where if you're looking at, one of the people who we heard about in a committee, but those of us in Northern Virginia know very well, Lucy Bedell, and you look at a lot of the families that the Arc of Northern Virginia, for example, and the Arc of Virginia advocate for, these are folks who very much want to be able to participate, but they are primary caregivers. They can't physically bring the person who they're responsible for to whatever advisory commission, whatever else it is, on often occasions. And any of us here who have dealt with guardianship reform that I've been working on for the last 7 years, and thank you all for, those of you who've been supporting those legislative efforts, it can be incredibly difficult when you have someone who is severely disabled, who is basically your ward at that point, especially if we're dealing with incapacitated adults. And that caregiver needs more flexibility. I understand the concerns about, are we going to put a limit? Should it be one person, two person, or a percentage who is able to do it? I think that's reasonable. Maybe there's I'm sure the patron would even find it to be a reasonable amendment, but work it out over in the House side. There's still plenty of time for this bill. I don't think it warrants a bunch of red lights today. Maybe if you wanted to put up one red light from one person to kind of send the message down the hall of, hey, take another look at this, that's one thing. But the intent of this bill is so good, and the issue that we're dealing with is so important, that I think it very much merits passage today, Madam President. Thank you.
Chair again recognizes Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. If no one else wishes to speak, I will just say that nearly 12% of Virginians have disabilities, and 24% of Virginians are caretakers. So there is a significant percentage here of people who feel they don't have as much access to the government and to the conversations that are going on that will truly affect their lives. This is not a burden on any of us. A committee chair, as you know, can establish time limits. Committee chair can also ask that comments focus on a certain topic. So there's latitude for the committee chairs in terms of structuring a meeting or the conversation, but allowing this access is absolutely critical. I do hope we can stand here and say everyone is welcome in Virginia, and everyone deserves a seat at the table. I hope the bill passes.
I apologize. Would the senator from Arlington yield for one more question? Perhaps I misread this bill.
The senator from Arlington, Senator Favola, will you rise and yield?
Sure, yes.
The senator yields. Senator Stewart has the floor.
Madam President, based upon the senator's last comments, it appeared as if this bill was to allow remote participation by the public. And that's not my understanding. Actually, this is a bill to allow you to establish a quorum by the members on the commission or the board or whatever, and to not have to be physically present in the room. And there's no restriction on that.
Senator Favola has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. There's some criteria in here. You have to be a member of the committee. You have to be an individual with a disability, as defined in our code, or you're a caretaker of an individual with a disability, and you happen to also be a member of that committee. So there's a framework in here. Does that answer your question?
It does, Madam President. Thank you. I thank the senator.
Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 11.
Ayes 28, noes 11. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 204, Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Release of Criminal Investigative Files Exception.
Chair recognizes Senator Diggs, the senator from York.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
The senator may continue.
Thank you. This bill is relatively simple. It helps victims acquire police reports. What it does is it removes the 14-day notice requirement for agents, specifically of the victim, an insurance company, or an attorney, therefore speeding up the process for a victim to file a claim or take some other kind of action. And I ask the senators to please pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Chair calls on Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all bills in the second reading of the uncontested calendar on pages 7 through 11, Senate Bills 232 to Senate Bill 644, be advanced their engrossment in the third reading in the block after the adoption of amendments thereto. Any senator desiring to remove the bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 7 through 11, Senate bills 232 through Senate Bill 644, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bills. All in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 232, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with substitute, and there are 2 floor amendments.
Madam President, can that come out of the block, please?
Without objection, Senate Bill 232 is out of the block.
Senate Bill 6, reported from the Committee on Transportation. Senate Bill 26, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 150, reported from the Committee on Transportation. Senate Bill 158, reported from the Committee on Transportation. Senate Bill 168, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 180, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 182, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 353, reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator French, the senator from Shenandoah County. Will the senator push his button?
Thanks for looking out for me. Madam
Yes, sir.
President, I move that the amendment substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
Senate Bill 400, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 545, reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Bagby, the senior senator from Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Bill 572, reported from the Committee on Transportation. Senate Bill 644, reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Perry, the junior senator from Loudoun.
Madam President, I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to. The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? That is, all bills except Senate Bill 232 on page 7. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are engrossed and advanced to their third reading.
Senate Bill 232.
Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I move the committee substitute.
The question is, with the recommendation that the substitute be rejected, the Senate will be temporarily at ease. Please push your button to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee substitute first.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is agreed to. Senator Hashmi.
Madam President, thank you. In regard to the floor amendments that we have in front of us, I move that the reading of the floor amendments be waived.
The question is, shall the floor amendments be waived? The reading of them be waived. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendments are waived. Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that the floor amendments be agreed to, and speaking very briefly to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The two floor amendments are indicative of the agreements that have been reached by all parties concerned, and they clarify some technical language. And with that, I move that we agree to the floor amendments.
The question is, shall the floor amendments be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendments are agreed to. Senator Hashmi.
Madam President, I move that SB 232 be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Regular calendar, Senate bill on second reading. Senate Bill 657, Alcoholic Beverage Control Annual Mixed Beverage Performing Arts Facility Licenses. Reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
Chair recognizes Senator Reeves, the senator from Orange.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we engross and advance the bill to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Chair recognizes Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all Senate bills on the first reading on the uncontested calendar and the regular calendars, pages 12 through 16, Senate bills 13 through 595, that the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 12 through 16, Senate bills 13 through Senate bills 595, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Chair again calls on Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all the bills be passed by for the day.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on second reading go by for the day? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills will go by for the day. Senator Surville.
Inquiry of the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Here, Chair recognizes again the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surville.
I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I just want to make sure everybody was aware that we're doing judicial elections tomorrow. So make sure you plan on that when you're planning your afternoon. There's a little bit of back and forth that takes a little bit of time to get through. We also have, I think the clerk's about to announce the Commerce and Labor Committee meeting to do the certification interviews for the State Corporation Commission nominees, which we will do, I guess, as soon as we get out of here, which is why we delayed the election. So, but in any event, so let's make sure everybody was on the same page about judicial elections because we pushed them from last week. Thank you, Madam President.
The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Tuesday, January 23rd, the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor and House Committee on Labor and Commerce will hold a joint meeting immediately upon adjournment of both the Senate floor session and the House Committee on Labor and Commerce in House Room A, lower level GAB, for the purpose of conducting SCC judicial interviews. The Committee on Privileges and Elections will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room B, General Assembly Building. The General Laws and Technology Subcommittee on Gaming will meet upon adjournment of Privileges and Elections in Senate Room C, GAB. Senators McPike, Locke, Reeves, Pillion, Head, Van Valkenburg, and Carol Foy. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment in Senate Room A, GAB. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Education will meet at 3:30 p.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, GAB. Senators Locke, Lucas, Obenshain, Stewart, and Hashmi. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Health will meet at 4 p.m. Senate Subcommittee Room 300, 3rd floor, GAB. Senators Favola, Suderline, Bagby, Aird, and Durant. Wednesday, January 24th, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Public Safety and Claims will meet at 7:30 a.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, GAB. Senators Eben, Lucas, Marsden, McDougall, Pillion, and Hashmi. The Women's Legislative Roundtable will meet at 8:30 a.m. House North Meeting Room, room 700B, 7th floor, GAB. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 9 a.m. in Senate Room A, GAB. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:15 a.m. Senate Room 2, Capitol. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1 of the Capitol.
Chair now calls on the senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon on tomorrow.
The question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow? All those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.